past year has challenged and rewarded me in ways that I will never forget. I made 112 videos totaling 1,554 minutes of content. I drove 30,000 miles from the deserts of Utah to Alaska and all the way back to Florida. I woke up to some of the most beautiful places on Earth, battled the weather in all different time zones, chased rainbows for thousands of miles. I spent a ton of time in coffee shops.
All right, you know what time it is. Time for wings? No, Alex. Coffee. It's time for coffee. Wings? Coffee.
And I experienced sights and sounds I had only dreamed of. The best part of it all is that I got to document and share it with you. Without you, I wouldn't be doing this. Hell, I couldn't be doing this. So I cannot thank each and every one of you enough that you're quite literally helping my dreams come true. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
So thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.
So thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for all your support.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for all the support recently.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. So thanks for watching. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me along.
Again, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
2022 was flooded with growth and change, one of the biggest being what this channel has become. It started off as a channel about landscape photography, and I feel I can confidently say it's grown into something much more. Thus, for my 2022 recap, I wanted to do something a bit different. Instead of just talking about my favorite images, I wanted to reminisce through some of the special moments I got to share with you. Okay, so I'm going to stop the voiceover for a second because this very first topic of 2022 was probably the most important thing that I went through this entire year. However, it talks about suicide and depression, and I wanted to give you a warning that that's what I'm about to talk about. You see, the very beginning of this year, I was probably in one of my darkest places I've ever been. I took a trip to the Alabama Hills to photograph some spots out there, and I made a video about it. But when you watch the video, you can't see it.
Good morning, everyone. Absolutely gorgeous morning here in the Alabama Hills of California. And today, this video, I want to talk about Blue Hour.
You can't hear it. You can't tell what I'm going through when I'm not filming myself in front of the camera. It's those moments that I'm trying to be the best version of myself, and it's the moments away from the camera that I'm trying to figure out how to keep being myself. And I actually ended up calling my best friend, Ross, from the Alabama Hills one night because I was doing so poorly and I really needed help. I was having vivid dreams and thoughts about how I would do it and wanting to do it. And to be completely honest, it was really scary. And I remember being in that place on the phone with him. And it's very possible that, you know, he's the reason I'm still talking to you in front of this camera. So I just need to mention that. And the reason I brought it up is because that was how my year started off. And if you followed my channel this year, you know that's not how it ends. And I think that's really important. And I even ended up talking about it right here on this channel. But I didn't know what was going to happen in those moments that I knew would happen, that I would get depressed, that I would struggle to get out of bed some days. And the last few months have been that way, where there's been moments, days, weeks, where I wasn't doing well. Why I wanted to talk about it here in this video is to remind everyone out there that sometimes you can't see it. Sometimes you can't hear it. Sometimes you're just not going to know. And the best things you can do is just always be there for the people that are closest to you. Tell them, hey, I'm always here if you need me. Or to just pick up the phone when it seems like they're not really pushing you. Because most of the time, we just don't want to be a burden. And especially in those moments, we feel like a burden to everyone. So I wanted to take this personal moment to thank you for being there, Ross. And I don't think you realize how much that meant to me. But I also don't think you guys realize how much this means to me either. And I actually think this year, making these videos, giving me purpose, pushing me to be all of the places that I went to, is why I'm still sitting here making this video. So thank you.
Oh, dang it. I stepped on another one of those little water thingies. But that was my baseline for life, was just waking up and trying to find happiness in that time. But I can assuredly say that right here and right now, talking to you guys, and if you've been watching the series, one person or 1,000 people, I don't know, you've noticed, I hope, how grateful I am to still be here, right here, talking.
Over the next 6 or 7 months, I was able to climb myself out of that dark hole in large part due to the people, experiences, and life I found around me. By pushing myself into the unknown, being completely alone, and soaking in as many beautiful moments as I could.
Feeling much better. Couldn't really talk back there. I was kind of standing in a pretty precarious position, and it's really loud. There's a herd of muskox! Muskox. I must ask you a question. Oh, photo time. God, there's a baby. Oh my God, there's a baby. What is going on? Ah, this is insane. We gotta stop. Yeah, we need to stop.
Okay. Made it back to the car safely.
We just passed a porcupine. I tried to get it on the camera, but I was filming a rainbow, and then I was like, oh my God, it's a porcupine in the road. Look at this sunshine. Holy crap. I didn't even put clothes on yet. Oh my God, a rainbow. Chasing rainbows, slogan of the channel. It's happening right now. But man, is it gorgeous. Holy crap. Yeah, so this is a rest area, a stop. This is just a rest area, stop on this drive. My goodness, what a place. Never gets old. I don't even have words. Wow.
I wasn't always alone though. While my best friends were my support system as long as I could find cell service, I also met a lot of great people along the way.
Hello. Hello. This is Ryan. Ryan and I wear the same shoes. Ryan has a few more tattoos than I do. I wonder how many tattoos he has. Let's go ask him. He has no idea I'm doing this. I have a very important question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
How many tattoos do you have? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay, Ryan, no idea, me 0. That's how many tattoos difference we have. He's actually a tattoo artist, has been doing it for like 20 years. And we met back in Oregon, and it is actually him who gave me the idea to come here to Alaska for the summer. I have made a friend. Where did you come from? Okay, this is Roberta. Roberta, do you know what you're doing next year? Any dates? May 25th.
I don't even know what I'm doing next week.
Okay. Did you know that they make these things called calendars? Where you can plan out your entire year.
I don't plan nothing. Didn't know about a calendar.
What about wall art? Would you like some wall art for your wall?
Yeah.
That also has all of the dates of the next year on it?
No, because then I might have to plan something, and I'm not a planner.
You're not. I'm trying to sell these calendars.
Oh. Yeah, that would be great. I would love it.
Look at him go!
Old days.
Bro, look at that mustache.
This is where all the power comes from.
Right? All right, we fucking found the drone. Woo! That's Nathan, John, Aaron. It's Aaron, right? Yes. Okay. Oh my God, is that Johnny Rome's? I mean, sorry, Johnny Rome's tech?
Life on the road sure can be amazing sometimes, but it didn't come without its challenging moments too, of course. Isolation on the road being one of the hardest to process.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling kind of down today. I think that's kind of comes to the nature of constantly on the move and constantly traveling. Is as absolutely wonderful as the experience was yesterday in McCarthy, and everything is just so nice. But then when I leave, it's a reminder of how much of a stranger I am in all of these places. Ryan is leaving me to go to a place called Tombstone. Bye, Ryan. I don't know. I'm sad. It's always hard to be somewhere for this long and meet people and then always have to leave.
Do you remember
The most important video I made this year was never supposed to be what it turned into. I filmed the entire day with no expectation of what I was going to experience, and I truly think that moment, that day, changed me. Not only did I get to share a vulnerable moment with you, it also really cemented the idea of what I wanted my content on this channel to be about. A small little voice reminding everyone out there that we are all human, that life isn't just pretty locations and endless happiness. Now, that doesn't mean I was going to stop taking photos or being happy. Far from it.
I saw you standing in the door, wearing out my shirt now. I couldn't help but smile at the scene. Waking night until the dawn, fade into the rearview wall. Driving down the street, we got caught, stuck in the car. Watched them on the whole way driving up the hill around the reservoir. Stuck in the dark, making time for everything you said. Promise don't let go of my head. Don't let go of my head.
It's possible my photography grew just as much as I did. The first part of the year was dominated by photographing seascapes.
And then as you could tell, I wanted to get a little bit, oh Jesus. All right, so that just happened.
Which makes sense considering I spent nearly 8 weeks on the coast, and this meant a lot of wide-angle shots, slower shutter speeds, and filters in front of my lens. Comparatively, for the rest of the year, I found myself picking up the wide-angle lens less, and getting excited for new things that I was finding within my own work. I took a lot of images this year, and it was really hard for me to narrow down my favorite images from the year. I only got down to 38, so we're gonna have to go through these pretty quickly, and I'll try to just pick and choose some of the ones that I think have the most significant story or the reason I included them. All right, so we're gonna go in chronological order here. This very first image is from that trip to the Alabama Hills. It's of the Mobius Arch, and I just like it because it's really subtle. There's nothing really overbearing about it. There's a few stars that stick out that I accentuated in the edit, and you can check out the edit in the video where I took that photo. But the biggest thing is that it doesn't have any grand Milky Way shot or anything like that. It's more of a blue hour shot that's very toned down, very light, and I just like the softness of it. I like the subtlety of the image. But famous spot, composition is pretty cut and dry for that spot. All right, so the next image is from 𝐒𝐴𝐸, and I'm not really gonna talk about this image very much, but I do wanna mention the video that I made when I was in Yosemite. It's one of the videos that I'm most proud of from my entire year. It's something I've never really done. It's a 30-minute scene by scene, almost relaxation video where I recorded all the sounds from Yosemite and everything in it. And I actually spent so much time on that video, and I'm really proud of it. And I knew that it wouldn't do very well because it's not in my brand of what this channel is about. But if you're interested, you can check it out. It's my Yosemite video. It has shots like this one of 𝐒𝐴𝐸, and it basically encapsulates 2 full days of Yosemite that it took me 2.5 weeks to film, getting all the sounds of the birds in the morning, and you should check it out if you ever just want to put it on in the background. The next image is from 𝐒𝐈 Falls, a pretty famous spot in the Pacific coast of California, and I just really like the subtle light in this image. There's just a hint of light going on the palm tree up here. There's a hint of light hitting the waterfall here, but it's not overdone. And I just like that soft feel, if you haven't noticed, between this image and the one from Alabama Hills. Another image that I had no thoughts of when I took is this one. I took this image and I didn't even post it. I don't even think I put it in a video. And later on, months later, I was editing some photos and I just liked the way it came out. Again, the softness in the image, there's a hint of light on the hills here that I edited in, going to this tree that has a swing on it, and there's clouds in the background. And I just like the textures and softness of the image. Seems to be a common theme of my images this year. This image is interesting. I included it here because, again, another image I thought nothing of. But when I go to edit, let me show you what this started out as. So this is the original framing. So I didn't think much of it. And this is the original edit. So this is an image that I pushed very far in a very artistic manner, but I love the end result. And it's one of those images where I took it, I thought nothing of it. And later down the road, I was just playing with some editing and I ended up really liking it. And it's actually one of my favorite images from this year. Another coastal shot, nothing special, but I remember the reason I included this in here was because I went days without getting any good light on the coast. And I remember having this evening and being absolutely blown away. I fell asleep in my car waiting for the sun to set, and it started raining. And so I got out of the car as the sun was setting, and that's what provided these conditions. It's just one of those moments that I remember distinctly in my head because I remember thinking, finally, good light on the coast. And then I spent 4 days in Bandon trying to get this little rock formation with good conditions. I finally did on the 4th or almost 5th day, and this is probably my favorite image from that moment. All right, so the next image is from 𝐒𝐨𝐜𝐿, well, and I didn't do a video here, and I spent 4 days trying to get this image, and I actually almost fell in twice. I fell in once the first day. I fell in the 3rd day and soaked everything and just gave up on that day. And the 4th day, you know, it's weird because I had to overcome the mental block of the fact that I could fall in and lose my camera. So getting out there on the 4th day was a personal challenge for me, and I'm really glad that I did because I finally got the image that I wanted. This is one of my favorite images from the year. Again, those soft textures, that ethereal feel, it just really drives that home. There's like this nice beam of light coming into 𝐒𝐨𝐿. Obviously, this is a pretty heavily edited image. I used multiple different images to make the waves. I used multiple images to blend in some of the light. And I never did a video on this, but that's because filming out there was basically impossible, as all I was trying to do was watch the waves and not fall in. This next image isn't necessarily special. It's the day that it reminds me of. I was having such a good day that day. A lot of the days driving up to Alaska, absolutely fantastic. A lot of the days in Alaska. And I just remember this memory in this video, and that's why I included it here. Next image is just of an eagle. There's nothing really special about the image overall. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it was the first eagle image I took on my trip that I really liked. And this kind of started branching me into wildlife photography when I was in Alaska, which is why I'm including it here. Another shot is of Alaska. This was the day that I arrived to Valdez. And if you followed along in my daily videos, you'll know how much I love Valdez, but also had a love-hate relationship with it because I think I was there for probably 20, 23 days, somewhere in between there. And I think this was the only day I really got clear skies, and it happened to be the first day I was there. So I had no idea that that day was so special. But I did get some great shots from that day. Same day, just from the ground. And I actually included 2 versions of this, and I can't necessarily figure out which one I like more of the eagle. This one is more of a scene. I like the grandiose of it, but it's harder to see the eagle. But you can see this one, and there's also one way back here, which I think is really cool. But it pulls less emphasis on the eagle, and this one puts more emphasis on the eagle. Still can't necessarily figure out which one I like more. I kind of go back and forth, I guess, depending on where I'm posting it. But this one's been sitting in my head a lot and trying to figure out which one I like more. I think it's this one, but it really just depends. Another wildlife shot, this eagle shot. I took a lot of photos of eagles. A lot of them didn't turn out. But this shot was a good learning experience because I realized that almost all of the wildlife photography shots that I like end up including the ground in them, something in the foreground, so that everything in the foreground is blurred, then the animal is in focus, and then everything behind it isn't. I started to notice that after I took this shot that a lot of the times the best thing I can do is get low to the ground and shoot those kind of shots, and it really accentuates whatever I'm photographing. All right, the next one is of Denali. I love this image. It's probably, I mean, it's weird because it's such a simple image, but everything about this image, the way the textures and light and detail are on the mountain is just perfect. Like everything is perfect in the image. Maybe my composition isn't unique or anything like that, but just the way the tones and the light are, I don't know. This is an image that I look at and I think this could be a background in macOS. And for me, that's like a top echelon type of image that I don't really get very often. And I also include something really fun. So this is 100 millimeters and this is 500 millimeters. So that is the difference between 100 and 500 on that lens that I got for Alaska. I had to include this image. This is the image from when I spread my dad's ashes into the Arctic Ocean. Super, super important video that I talked about previously. And obviously I think this is one of the most important images I took all year. Simple, but probably tells the most story out of any of these images. But I guess that's what happens when you aren't shooting just landscapes. That same day I shot on the Dawson Highway. This shot, it's weird because I didn't think much of this image when I was editing it. I finished the edit and then I've come back to it a few times and I've just ended up really liking the colors in the sky matched with the green hills of the Brooks Range there in Alaska. And it's just kind of grown on me. And that's why I included it, is because I didn't think much of it when I took the image. I didn't think much of it when I edited the image for the video, but I've ended up really liking it. It's really subtle. Again, if you haven't noticed the pattern, I've been really gravitating towards more subtle images. And that shows in my work as we progress through the year. Speaking of subtle, this one is just a textured image of a mountainside when I was driving on the old Denali Highway. I love this image, but I can't necessarily pinpoint why. There's nothing crazy going on. I just love the gradients of color, the natural rock, and the way the light is hitting the mountain, so I wanted to include it. I've included this bear image because it's not necessarily an award-winning images of bears. There's so many great images of bears. It's so funny because I was shooting wildlife and I would be like, yeah, I got some great stuff. And then I would go see what like wildlife photographers shoot. And I'm like, okay, I'm just starting out. But I included this because I'd never photographed bears before, especially brown bears. So it was really fun to get to do that. And that's why I included this image. It's just a really good memory. And I like that I get to go back and look at those images and the video. That's the best part, is like, I'll show people the photos and they're like, oh, that's cool. But when I show them the video, they're like, you got to sit there and watch these bears. I did for days at a time, and just watching the patterns of their characteristics was a lot of fun. And it's one of the benefits of making these videos on this channel. Okay, so the next image is not anything crazy. It's just a good memory once again, where I spent 14 days or so sitting in the rain in Valdez. And the first day that I left, I woke up to so many rainbows, which, if you don't know, that's kind of a motto on this channel, that there's a rainbow out there somewhere and we got to go find them. I wasn't finding any. And then the next day when I finally left, rainbows galore everywhere. So again, just a really great memory. And it's not necessarily about the perfect photo or the perfect light or anything about that like that. It's just a memory for me, and that's why I included it. This is an interesting image because it's a midday shot, and I just absolutely love the balance of the shot, the way the ground is in the foreground, how unique it looks. Nothing like this. Like, if I've never seen landscape like this. And on top of that, it's also a midday shot. There's something about this photo that I really love. Haven't necessarily been able to pinpoint what it is, but I included it because it's still a mystery to me of why I like it, even though I think it's a bias for me. I don't think when I show anyone else this, they think anything crazy about it. I just really love this image. Another one that this is an image that I'm still fighting with because there's so much detail in it. It's a huge drone panorama. It's probably one of the better drone images I took all year, but I haven't necessarily got the crop right. I haven't necessarily got the warping in it right to make the river look correct. But everything is so, I just love this shadow, or a beam of light that causes this shadow on this little mountain thingy here. And you can go, there's so much to explore in the image, but it's an image you have to sit with. And I haven't necessarily figured out how to make people sit with it. Does that make sense? So a lot of the times an image, if it draws someone in, they'll take the time to find all of the detail in it. But this particular image, I haven't gotten to that point. I think most people see it and just move on. And I'm still trying to figure out if I can get to that point. But one of my favorite images from that year. Next up is taken on the same evening. So all of these, the last 4 photos were all taken on the same day. I took a lot of great photos that day, but this one is another subtle image that I really just love the colors and textures going on in it. The slight reflection on the lake, but also the colors going on in the background with this glacier in the background. I absolutely love the way that looks. Again, another subtle image. There's nothing over the top about this image. It's just a very peaceful scene, and I really like that. The next image is not necessarily something that I'm going to, well, maybe I'll throw in my portfolio, but this is just a memory. This was one of those images that's like, I will never forget this moment because I've tried to photograph the aurora multiple years and never captured it. And it finally happened, and it happened, I mean, as you can tell, in a pretty insane way. But that's just me on a bench in Dawson City, hanging out with some other people, taking photos up there. And it was just a cool experience. I wasn't necessarily shooting in the best spot for shooting the aurora, but I was just really, really glad I got to see it and experience it. The next 2 images are from Tombstone, actually the next 3 images. And I don't even know if I really talked about this image when I made the video, but this is an image that has grown on me. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I want to do with it, but there's just something about this white mountain mixed with this foreground color and the light hitting the foreground that I haven't necessarily figured out. But I know when I was going through my images to put in this video, this is one that sticks out in my mind that is still sitting there, and I'm still thinking about if I want to change anything about it or how to articulate talking about it, because I just love the way the lines crisscross in it. So all of the shadows, and there's just so many lines in it, but they're all natural. They're not crossing each other or anything like that. It's almost like there's a bunch of triangles in the image, if that makes any sense. Again, still trying to figure it out, but one of my favorite images. The next one was taken on the same day, and I just love the way the light is. This is probably my first fall color photo, which is really cool. So I think I took this on August 29th, and I took my last fall color change photo on December 11th, which we'll get to. But how cool is that to shoot that long fall color? I mean, it's like living the dream, right? The next one is just a fun photo of Ross under the Northern Lights. Just a great memory. The next one is not necessarily an insane photo, but again, another memory where I had this experience waking up at this glacier, accidentally finding the glacier, and then getting to sleep there twice. Just a super cool experience. I probably included some clips in this video of it, and it's just a great memory. So that's why I included it in here. The next one is one I took during my Fall Colorado workshop, probably my favorite fall image I took all year, which is funny because I just took this from the back of the house of where we all stayed, which goes to show just how insane that view was. But one of my favorite images of the fall color, super simple edit, may have taken me a couple minutes to do. And yeah, I mean, I think it speaks for itself. Next one is super cool. The story behind this one is that none of us were paying attention to the moon. We were all just shooting Castle Rock or Chimney Rock, what is it called? True Grit area in the San Juan Mountains. And someone pointed out, is anyone going to take any photos of the moon? And we were like, what moon? And we look left, and it's there balanced with the perfect light on the rocks, perfect light on the moon, all taken in one frame. This is not a composite. You can just zoom in, get detail on the moon. And it's another reason, if you haven't noticed, this and this were both taken with the 100 to 500, and that's why I still have the 100 to 500. The next one is just a quick drone shot. I just love the colors in the shot. One of my favorite drone shots from the year. That's why I included it. Same with this one. This one is a super subtle edit. I think I barely touched it. So this is the before and this is the after. Super subtle edit. I just love that sea of gold as far as you can see, basically. Super cool. This one is an interesting image, and I didn't think much of it when I took it. I still really think it's crazy. I just love the way this tree looks like a lung, but I'm in a cemetery, so it's like breathing life into an area. I don't know. There's just something about this image where the tree literally to me looks like a lung, and it's the first thing I see. And I think that's really interesting. So I included it in here. And the next few images are from when I was shooting the fall color in the swampy areas of Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. This is one of my favorites. I just love the way the light cascades and almost creates a chandelier looking cypress mossy tree. I don't know. I just love the way the light falls on this tree. And I really love this image for its abstract qualities. Again, if you go back and look at how much I progressed in terms of my photography, for the first images I took of the year to the last images I took of the year, you can see a actual change, which is really cool to just go back and see the types of things I was shooting then and the types of things I'm shooting now. And you can kind of see hints of it where I'm taking more subtle images. And I've talked about that throughout talking about these photos. And then I finally get to things like this where I start seeing different stuff and I start being interested and excited about different types of images, which is really great. And I think it all accumulates to this final image. This is a very busy image, but it's a very flat scene with not a lot of dynamic light. But when you really zoom in and you start to look at some of the detail in the image, there's so much to look at. And there's just, I don't know, it's like a feast for the eyes when you really take a second to imagine this on a wall or where it would be. And I just really like this image, so that's why I included it. More so to just talk about the fact that I got to shoot the fall color change all the way from August 29th to December 11th, which is just super cool. But also to compare and contrast the last image I'm including from the first image I'm including and how different they are in terms of me as a photographer. And I think that's really important to talk about from my transition or my change or growth over 2022. So that's the images. I hope you enjoyed that. There's so much more I could talk about in this video, which is a real testament to just how much happened in a single year. But I want to reiterate to everyone watching that I would not have been able to do this without you. So thank you for your continued support, your undying gratitude, your comments, Whether you've donated money to put gas in Ross or put coffee in me, or you've signed up for my Patreon or bought a print or a calendar or whatever, just liking the videos, just subscribing to the channel, sharing it with your family, any of those things, or you've just left a lovely comment down below. It all makes a difference, and I wouldn't be here without you. So I'm really excited for 2023, but I'm really excited to share the adventure with you even more. So thank you for being here. I love you all, and I'll see you again soon. Later.